Hello, good morning to all. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, yesterday, that is in our last class, I have just given an introduction to the overall course and the topics that we will be discussing in all the 5 units. And along with that, I have also given an introduction to big data. So, can anyone brief out just about what all things we have seen or discussed in the last class? Yes.
What is big data?
Okay. Your voice is not clear, Sankar. Hello. Once check the network connectivity at your end, ma. Your voice is not reaching me clearly.
Ma'am, introduction to big data, like what is big data, definition,
Okay.
evolution of it, ma'am.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you for your inputs. So we have seen what is the need to move towards the adoption of new technologies, though there are so many existing technologies. Okay, so that is only because the volume of data that is emerging in the modern world, okay, it is quite vast. And due to this, the traditional tools and traditional techniques are not sufficient to deal with that voluminous data. Okay, and particularly during COVID era, where people started moving towards the adoption of technologies. Okay, so even in that sense, also data is being drastically generated. Okay, so something which is beyond the processing capacity of a traditional system, that can be termed as a big data, right? So usually there are a set of V's associated with big data. Can anyone let me know what V's we have seen in the last class? Yes, ma'am. V's associated with big data. One is volume. Yes. Then followed by that, we have also seen velocity, isn't it? The rate at which your data is emerging. Hope my voice is clearly reaching you, Nana. Keep responding whenever I'm asking you. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. So you have different V's. Like initially, there were only two or three V's associated with big data, but due to different applications trying to capture that data, okay, number of V's also were analyzed and they kept on increasing. So some of the V's are volume, okay, velocity, veracity, okay, variety. All these are different V's. So volume means we have seen huge amount of data. Velocity means the rate at which the data is getting generated. Okay, there is one more important V which is known as variety. So variety means even data is emerging in different flavors. Okay, we cannot restrict ourselves to use only Word documents or to use only Excel sheets to perform some kind of analysis, but we have to use the tools in such a way that they can process any kind of data, the data which is in the form of images, the data which is in the form of video files, okay, audio files. All this different nature of data should be processed efficiently. Okay, so this is associated with the variety aspect of big data. Let me share my screen. Hope my screen is visible, guys. Please let me know. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. So here itself we can see all the three V's: volume, this is variety, and the next one is velocity. Okay, and as I said, we even have veracity, which means that whether the data is being generated from an authentic source or not, whether the source that is leading to the generation of data, is it a trustworthy source or not? Okay, so that is one more V associated, which is veracity, right? But as of now, we will focus on these three V's. And as we have seen, there are social media which is leading to the creation of this or generation of this big data. You have large amount of medical report analysis, large amount of genetic sequencing. Okay, so these are taken as some of the prominent sources, okay, which are leading to faster data generation. Okay, now. Proceeding further, there are different varieties as I have said you, and this data, okay, it can come in multiple forms, which includes structured and non-structured data. Okay, structured means, can anyone tell me what do you understand by the structured data? Can anyone tell me what is the structured data? Yes, non-structured you are already given with examples. Structured means, okay, at least can anyone tell me what kind of data are we storing in relational databases? How is data stored in relational database? Please respond.
Tables.
Tables, ma'am.
Very good. Thank you so much. It is stored in the form of tables. That means tables which have fixed number of rows and columns. The schema will be defined, isn't it? So that is a structured data. That means now when I'm trying to perform some kind of analysis, okay, initially if I have fixed my table size to suppose 500 cross 500, that means the number of rows and number of columns should not exceed that size. That was the problem in relational database. But now as the data is emerging dynamically, okay, people are using technology, they are generate data is getting generated, that data need to be stored somewhere. So uh, we need to have some facility where the size need not be fixed. Okay, and even the data need not be restricted only to table format. It can be audio, video, as I have already mentioned. Okay, so structured and non-structured data or unstructured data. Okay, such as some financial data, some text files, multimedia files, which are all related to audio and video. There should be a facility to deal with all these data, not only your records or not only your tabular data. Okay, right. Then when you're trying to use the existing techniques, what will happen? What will happen? They may not provide you required results. Okay, the results obtained will not be up to the mark. Okay, so they require different techniques and different tools in order to process the data and in order to perform the analysis as well. Okay, then what kind of techniques are required? Something which is supporting your, yes, massively parallel processing. Yes, what do you understand by this ma MPP? You might have studied, or at least you might have used it to develop your projects. Did anyone use it? Yes. Hope no one else to join further. So, what do you understand by this massively parallel processing architectures? Yes. A single big problem is split into several subparts. Okay, just like how your structured programming languages, how do they perform their operations, Nana? Structured programming, how the operations are performed? Can anyone tell me how the operations are performed in structured programming? Yes, you have main function, you have several subfunctions, isn't it? Yes or no? Do
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have it or no? Yeah, in the similar way, even here also, when you have huge amounts of data, it is not suitable to process the data in a one stretch. That is, as a large, big program, you cannot do. It will be difficult for you to get the results. Okay, so what you can do is you can split that into several parts and give each part to one server or one machine so that the data, all the different pieces of data, they can be processed at the same time, right? So for that kind of processing, the distributed computing environments and MPP environments or architectures are preferable. That is the reason why we have Hadoop into our syllabus. We have MapReduce. Okay, so all of them deal with the parallel computations or parallel processing of huge amounts of data, right? Then coming to the types of data associated. Okay, types of big data you can say. Okay, types of big data or types of data structures associated with your big data. You are already familiar with the structured data, as I said. Okay, so schema should be defined. It should have fixed number of rows and columns. Okay, and it should have a defined data type. Even if you wanted to change the data type later on, okay, it will be difficult for you. Once again, you need to make changes at the schema level and the transactions data. Okay, the traditional, that is the historical data where you need not add further changes, okay, which is already available and you wanted to process that. Okay, so that is something where you don't need to do too many changes to the data. Okay, so that is your structured data. Okay, so traditional rdbms and your csv files, simple spreadsheets like your excel and all that. What do you mean by the csv files, Nana? What are the csv files? I think you might have used this csv. Yes,
Comma separated
you
value.
anyone? Yeah, very good. Comma separated values. So even here also we are trying to separate the items by using commas. Okay, so all these are some of the examples of structured data. Okay, where the data is represented in the form of tables with fixed number of rows and columns. Okay, so you are familiar in dealing with this. Either you can use your relational database, SQL queries can be used in order to process the data, or you can use olap cubes in order to process the data. So different flavors are available. Okay, then before coming to the other two, let us see about unstructured. So unstructured means it will be completely opposite of structured. Okay, see, one thing you need to remember is though unstructured data is available in different flavors, okay, it can be processed only when it is converted into a particular format. Just like that, you cannot process the data. It may take a lot of time. Accepting the data in whichever form it is arising or it is originating and then trying to process it. Okay, so that is the significance of your unstructured data, where there is no particular structure like email. Okay, you can include anything in your email when you're sending emails. Okay, and in your PDF documents, you can include any content. It did not have only text, but it can have audio, video, links, anything you can include. Similarly, images and videos, that is a multimedia data, also comes under the unstructured category. Now you're seeing some more categories like semi-structured and quasi-structured. Actually, quasi-structured is the term which is used very rarely, but otherwise we have only semi-structured. Semi-structured is something which is a mix of structured and unstructured data. So, in simple terms, to understand semi-structured data, you have the data which tries to adopt some kind of tags, just like in your markup languages. Yes, you have HTML, you have XML, various markup languages are there, isn't it? So, in that markup languages, how do you try to represent the things? In between the tags. Some content can be represented in between tags. The tags are used to give some kind of structuredness to your data, isn't it? So your XML documents, your JSON documents, all these come under semi-structured data, which is a mix in between structured and unstructured. Okay. Now, what is this quasi-structured data? Quasi-structured means, yes, the data where you are unable to differentiate into a particular category, something which is very ambiguous. Okay, you cannot predict. Okay, it is exactly of which format. Okay, so some kind of ambiguous data which require too much of efforts and some special kind of tools devised for it. Okay, is quasi structured in nature. So, what is the feature of this particular data? It may have inconsistencies in various formats. That means, suppose if there are multiple files, in one file the data may be in the form of PDF, in other file it may be in Word because they might have used the online tools to convert PDF into Word. In some other file, it may be converted into some image format. Okay, so the same piece of data, when it is available in different formats, then it is resulting in inconsistency. So this is one difficulty which has to be eliminated when you are trying to trigger out the quasi-structured data. Hope it is clear, ma? All the four categories you have understood. What examples can be quoted under each of them? Let me know if you have any doubts with respect to these types. Yes, ma? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Just let me brief out once again about the types. Here you have structured where there is a particular format that has to be followed, and the format cannot be violated. Okay, and unstructured, which is completely opposite of structured, where there is no particular format and there can be any kind of data, which is emerging in the modern world. Semi-structured, which is a mix in between structured and unstructured data, where usually you use some tags in order to format the text, like your XML, JSON documents are very good examples for semi-structured. And quasi-structured is something where you don't have a fixed format again, but the data will be quite inconsistent. Okay, so these are the different types of big data which can arise or which can emerge in the modern world, right? Now, in order to learn about the data analytics or big data part, you first need to know, okay, what are the problems or what are the things which are lagging in the existing tools. Okay, can anyone tell me what is this BI means and why we need to compare this BI with data science? Yes, you can see here BI is nothing but it is business intelligence. Okay, so business intelligence, like preparing the dashboards, preparing reports, all those things are already available. No? Then can't you use them in order to deal with the big data? This is one very common question uh, that may come into your minds, isn't it? But we are trying to move towards the new data science techniques because of its ability to perform futuristic analysis. Okay, futuristic analysis is nothing but forecasting, any kind of forecasting. Like as I have mentioned in my previous class, if you wanted to find out based on the current and past number of COVID cases, okay, if you wanted to design some precautionary measures in future, then you need to analyze the data. Okay, so futuristic modeling or predictive modeling or forecasting, okay, that can take place using your data science. Okay, so it will also be represented using predictive analytics with data mining. Okay, and the nature of data, as we have already seen, any kind of data is considered. Okay, but what about this business intelligence? It was able to process only the historical data or even current data. Suppose I wanted to increase the sales of a particular product in a store. Okay, so what I will do is I will check out how many customers have purchased that particular product. Okay, how many customers didn't even prefer to purchase that particular product? Let me say cold drinks or let me say ice creams. Okay, during the COVID era, it was said that you need to be away from the all the cold products. So that is the reason why people they did not prefer this cold drinks, ice creams, and all. Okay, so in order to make some kind of analysis in that way, we need to look into historical data. Okay, so that kind of analysis is supported through this business intelligence. Okay, it enables you to analyze the historical data or even current data based on which you can take some actions, but it is not preferable or it is not suitable to proceed with the futuristic predictions. Okay, just like weather forecasting and all those things cannot be predicted using this business intelligence. It is suitable only to identify how to increase the sales of that particular product in a store or in terms of business modeling. Okay, how do I attract more customers towards this particular product or towards any particular project? So that kind of analysis can be carried out using this business intelligence. Okay, but if you wanted to go for futuristic predictions and if you wanted to deal with the voluminous data, then in that sense, you have to adopt this data science environment, right? Okay, so past to but current time, you can say you can go with business intelligence, where just we can generate some dashboard reports and some kind of standard queries can be even created in order to generate the results. Okay, But if you wanted to go for entire past to future analysis, then data science is said to be a bigger, uh, bigger sense in this particular matter. You can also see here this axis explanatory and exploratory. What is the difference? Yes, which is explanatory, which is exploratory by looking into this particular representation. Can anyone tell me?
Data science is exploratory, ma'am.
Okay. Exploring in what ways?
Fire like new findings and statistics. We explore new data as the data will be continuous.
Very good, very good, very nice. Exactly said as said by you. Data science is exploratory in nature. Okay, we can explore by applying several statistical modeling techniques. Okay, whereas that facility was not available with business intelligence. Some set of predefined packages and all were there, and by using that only, some kind of decisions had to be made, which was not suitable for big data analysis. That is why people started moving towards the data science, and they have started using it to infer and analyze big data efficiently, right? So this is how people are switching towards various data science, and as I said you, it is basically a superset because data science is not built around a particular area, but in fact, it can be integrated with many different areas, as you might have already uh, known about building data science around machine learning or around big data. The statistical methods will remain same, but where the difference will arise in terms of the nature of data that you are processing, in terms of the techniques that you are adopting to process the amount of data. Okay, so in terms of the techniques and in terms of the nature of data, only these may be slight differences. Otherwise, the statistical methods that you apply in machine learning can also be applied for your big data, right? And there itself we can see the difference. Like suppose if you are processing a record which is having only 100 rows and 5 columns. Okay, the same record, if you are trying to process it using some kind of TensorFlow, then how within how much time will you get the output? If you're slowly increasing the number of records, will you get the output? Similarly for your uh, increasing data also, like instead of 100 cross 5, if you're trying to process 1 lakh into 50, then how much time is it taking? So there itself you will come to know the gap which is associated with that particular tool, right? Hope all these things are clear, Hannah. You understood the difference between the business intelligence and the significance of data science. Shall we proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Now, key roles of the big data ecosystem. That is, you have players. Okay, generally they are called as big data players, or the players associated with big data. Okay, so these days you are seeing there are several jobs in the market associated with the data science, like data scientists, data engineers. Okay, so in what ways they are special? Yes, because they know how to deal with this different structures. They know how to deal with unstructured data. They know how to deal with the quasi-structured data. Okay, because they have explored it and they are trying to find out some solutions. Okay, that is the reason why they are all these different people are associated with different roles are big data players. So generally you call them as data scientists and data engineers. These are two familiar roles, but here they are split into some categories. Okay, we will see in detail about these categories. But what is the purpose of this data scientist? Okay, so he is the one who is having very good, very deep technical knowledge, okay, in order to explore the data, and that he has not got it from sky, he has explored. Okay, you are finding nowadays there are so many courses, okay, available for data scientists separately, for data engineers separately. So what do they teach in these courses? Nothing but related to the different ways, different technologies to that support efficient processing of big data. Okay, so once you are familiar with the use of those technologies, then you can become a data scientist, right? So they need to have deep Analytical talent. That means they should know which kind of statistical methods or statistical approaches are suitable for which kind of applications. Okay, they should be able to analyze the problems thoroughly, apply the required methods, and then will be able to get results as required. The data savvy professionals. Okay, so again, these are also knowledgeable, but not as knowledgeable as, yes, deep or as your data scientist. Okay, like data scientists, they have very great knowledge, in-depth knowledge, because they keep on exploring continuously. But data savvy professionals, they try to learn only the things which are required to solve a particular problem. Okay, just like you can say the analyst or the engineers, data engineers, whatever project they are assigned, they will try to figure out solutions only in the direction in which uh, their project will be proceeding, right? So data savvy professionals, they are having less technical depth, but yes, they know how to use the statistical functionalities and all. Okay, then there is another group. Okay, these are only the three groups now. We will see some more groups. Okay, after this one. So technology and data enablers. Okay, so these are the people who actually deal with the administrative responsibilities, we can say. Okay, what kind of access should be provided to which group of people, what kind of data should be hidden from the people, okay, with respect to security, and what kind of data should be stored, okay, in such a way that it should not be accessible to everyone. Okay, just by providing usernames, passwords, that alone is not sufficient, but many such things will be explored by this technology and data enablers group. Okay, so they have expertise in order to deal with projects, but in terms of administrative management, like DBS, who deal with databases, they are one such category of people, right? So all these people, they don't work in isolation, but in fact they work in coordination with each other in order to deal with the big data challenges. Okay, because one can this technology and data enablers can work at the back end, and the other two can work at the front end. This second group can work only with respect to that particular problem, and first group will always keep on exploring, okay, in what best ways the results can be achieved, right? So all these should work in collaboration in order to achieve the required results and in order to deal with various challenges associated with big data processing. Is this clear? Yes, ma'am. If you need any clarification with respect to what all things we have seen, please let me know. So far, we have covered about the different structures or data structures associated with your big data, or different types of big data, you can say, like structured, unstructured, quasi-structured, and semi-structured. And then we have seen the need for data science as compared to the business intelligence. And then we have seen some different roles and responsibilities associated with people at different phases, right? So if all these are clear, shall we proceed further? Let me know if you have any doubts. No? Let me pause here for a while, waiting to listen from your end. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Now, let us enter into the subject. Okay? So, the first topic that we are going to explore is the data analytics life cycle. Okay, and you might have a doubt here. Already we have seen that SDLC, that is software development life cycle, and various phases. No, then how is this life cycle different from that one? Okay, because here in this particular analytics life cycle, we are trying to identify the task that will be carried out by different group of people to deal with big data, specifically to deal with big data. Okay, right? So we can see the phases here, but let us go in a systematic manner. We will first discuss about the different people who are involved at various phases. Okay, hope you are able to view the screen clearly. Are you able to view all the things clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Yeah. So you have seven different experts, I can say, who are associated with a successful analytical project. In order to make a project successful, these people are involved at different phases. Who are they? You have business users, you have project sponsors, you have project managers, then you have the intelligence analysts, then you have the VBAs, and then you have data engineers and data scientists. Okay, so all these are the different roles and responsibilities associated with the people who are working on big data related projects. Right? Now, what is the purpose of each of these groups? Okay, let us see. Who is a business user? He is just someone who is acting as a end user. Okay, what does end user do, Nana? What does end user do? Of any end user for any service. Okay, what does it do? Will they have in-depth knowledge? Will they have in-depth knowledge about the services that they are using?
No,
No,
ma'am.
isn't it? No, they don't have. It all depends on how they are exploring, but usually end users are the ones who don't have in-depth knowledge about whatever services they are using. Okay, what is their intent is they will just be worried about the output or about the results and how to use that results. That's all. Okay, how the results have been generated, what kind of techniques are applied to generate the results, all these things they are not bothered about. Okay, the similar is the case with the business users. Okay, so these people they are worried about what kind of results they are expecting and how the outputs can be operationalized. That means how it can be put into use. Only those things they are worried about. So normal user of your big data based projects. They are the business users. Okay, they will have knowledge but not in-depth knowledge. Okay, only whichever parts they wanted to explore, they will explore those things. Remaining aspects they will not disturb. Right? Then you have project sponsors. Sponsors are the people who always try to uh, focus about the funding, about the budget requirements. Okay, in order to develop a particular project, okay, how much budget has to be quoted for which kind of equipment, whether you need to uh, work with the already available open source versions or whether you wanted to go for some commercial or enterprise based versions. So all these things will be figured out by the sponsors because they are the people ultimately who will be funding. Okay, and when they are acting as sponsors, then definitely they will not like to waste money whenever not required. Okay, so they will try to optimally plan the budget. Okay, in order to achieve the required output. So this person is given flexibility to set the priorities because definitely as he is the sponsor, he will try to set some priorities and work accordingly in order to achieve the output. Right? Then there is a project manager. He is just acting like a team leader who will always monitor. Okay, who will always monitor all the people under him to check that whether they are reaching the required objectives or no, whether they are meeting the required deadlines or no, isn't it? Because time plays a very prominent role. Okay, if a deadline is given or assigned, okay, to complete or to work on a particular project, then it should not be extended. Okay, so if it is extended, then again it will create a negative impact, negative environment. So that is the reason for which there is a project manager hired in order to ensure that key milestones and objectives are met and the quality is not compromised. Right? Okay, so hope the roles of all these three categories are clear enough. Shall we proceed? Yes, ma'am. Shall we proceed further?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Then you have business intelligence analyst. Okay, so business intelligence analyst, why is he required? Because such people are having expertise in creating the reports, in presenting the reports, in creating the dashboards, and in trying to understand the metrics which can be applied to make the results more effective. Okay, so that is why this business intelligence analyst team is also included or incorporated to work on any big data problem, right? Because they have a good understanding, in fact, very great understanding of preparation of reports and dashboards. Okay, see, because ultimately the end user or the one who wanted to act as a sponsor, they will try to see what are the outcomes, how these outcomes will be attracting end users or the customers. Okay, if suppose they wanted to develop any app, okay, for example, like for COVID tracking, Arogya Setu app has been designed, but some flaws are associated with that app. So some people are working in order to address those flaws. How it can be made in a more better way. Okay, so how they carry out activities is based on the roles and responsibilities which are distributed among various groups of people. Okay, so to make it more lively, to make the graphs more attractive, this team will work out. Business intelligence analyst team, right? And there is another category of people, that is database administrators, that is DBAs, who are always responsible to deal with the backend support. Okay, because see, when you are having huge amount of data, then there should be some place or some storage that handles all the data, and that storage one stretch it will store the original data, and at another stretch it should also store the processed data. So where the data will be stored, by whom will it be processed, who are having access to which piece of information. Okay, because security issues also should be considered, otherwise the data may be misused, isn't it? So, to keep a track of all that kind of backend processing, even database administrators are included, right? So, they provide and configure the database environment to support the analytic needs of the team. Okay, and they even provide access to key databases or tables by ensuring security. Okay, otherwise, what will happen? Data may be misused. Only the data which has to be exposed will be exposed to the public. Other data will be maintained securely. It will be accessed only by the one who is eligible or who is authorized to access that particular piece of data. Right? The two most important roles associated these days, okay, with your data analytics projects, as I have mentioned, data engineers and data scientists. So data engineers, they leverage deep technical skills. Okay, these are the people who are struggling in order to achieve the desired outcomes. They will identify what kind of models can be applied, what kind of techniques can be applied, statistical models, or how the queries can be created, okay, in order to achieve the required results. So, highly technical knowledge is uh, available with these kind of experts. Okay, then coming to data scientist. So, this data scientist is like an all rounder. Okay, so this fellow what he will do is they will ensure that overall objectives are met. Okay, and what all things have been developed by data engineers, whether they are really feasible or not, whether they need to be modified or whether they are yielding the required outputs or not, results are as required or not. Okay, so focus on objectives and outcomes. Okay, is made by this data scientist. They also have technical knowledge because wherever required, they need to give inputs to data engineers. And unless and until they have some expertise, then how will they give inputs? It is not possible, isn't it? So that is why data scientists are playing the role of all-rounders. They will have knowledge about the databases. They will have knowledge about the various statistical techniques that can be adopted, various big database techniques that will be adopted, and finally they will cross check everything and they will give inputs to the data engineers, so that ultimately outcome can be achieved. Yes. But when you are working out on any project, then by receiving inputs from the stakeholders, it must be fine tuned. The project must be fine tuned. Okay, it should not simply be working or going in a single direction, isn't it? Otherwise, there is no use of implementing that particular project. There may be several such activities already available. There is no use of implementing another similar activity. Like, for example, let me say you have so many virtual assistants, isn't it? You have Google Siri, you have Alexa, so many are there. Now, there is no meaning in creating another such similar kind of assistant. Okay, it is preferable only if you are trying to fine tune, or if you are trying to make the features which are not supported by the current assistants more better, isn't it? Otherwise, working in the similar direction, then it is of no use. So all those things are analyzed by the data scientist, right? Of the roles and responsibilities of each group of people who are involved in the data analytics life cycle. Okay, it is clear. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Yes, ma'am. Are they clear? Shall we proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. So this is again on representation. Okay, pictorial representation, just to show you what is the role of each and every category. You can just relate them with your film industry. Okay, I found that in a similar way. Now, can you tell me, based on whatever I have explained, these people can be related to with which group of people in your film industry? Right from thinking about the idea, okay, bringing it into implementation, and finally the completion of the film. Yes, you know now different group of different people. You're very familiar, more betterly you will know as compared to me, isn't it? Who are the different group of people involved in making a film? You have directors, you have producers, you have actors, isn't it? You have your screenplay team, camera team. Different teams are there, isn't it? Now, can you map all these actors with them? Take this as a small assignment, no? Small assignment. Yes. Otherwise, if anyone wanted to correlate now itself, we can do that. Otherwise, I'll give you some time. Whomever I ask tomorrow, you should be able to represent. Hope the question is clear. I'm just asking you to map the role of these analytic team people with the film industry people. Yes? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can anyone do it now? You can just think over for a while, because you know sponsor means, yes, who plays the role of a sponsor?
Producer.
Yes, very good. Producer.
Business
Then
user will be the public, ma'am.
yes, yes. Business user will be the public end users.
Yes, ma'am.
And sponsor is the producer. Then
Producer.
this manager,
But will be the director, I guess. Uh, No, not director.
think manager is worried about the deadlines and all. Everything, whether it is it is achieved as per the
Like
required timelines.
scheduling the schedule manager role, ma'am.
Yes, yes, some kind of schedule manager can be considered. The two important roles. This can be database administrators and all. They can be the backend team,
Yes, ma'am.
isn't it? Yeah,
The editors.
editors and all, the screenplay team, all of them. Then these two important roles. Who will be data engineer? Who will be data scientist?
Data engineering engineer will be the actors, ma'am,
Okay,
and the data scientist, as it is, as he analyzes, it will be the director, I guess.
very good, excellent. Thank you so much. Very nice. So if you remember in this way, I'm sure you will understand the roles and responsibilities. So thank you for your response. Very nice. So once again, I will just read out when comparing with the film industry. Here, the business user are the end users or public. Okay, who will be watching the movie and who may or may not have in-depth knowledge. Okay, project sponsors are the producers, project managers are the schedule managers, then the other teams they are like DBA and analysts. These are the people who are doing the editor and the screenplay parts. Data engineers are the actors who put in lot of efforts, okay, in order to get the task successfully executed, and data scientist is a director. Okay, so ultimately you will get more benefit. Yes, you cannot say that. Of course, you cannot say that. Okay, but ultimately the main lead, okay, will be the data scientist. Okay, because cleverly he will plan everything and he will make sure that all the project requirements are met. Right? Shall we proceed further? Anyone else wanted to say anything, ma? Yes? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Siri, are all the things clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, right. Uh, I'll just tell you the various phases and the significance. Yeah, and one more thing I forgot to tell you here. These all these people they actually vary in number based on the size of the project, based on the complexity of the project. Like if it is a very big project, if you wanted to design an app which can be accessed by people residing only in a particular region, then these many people, these many groups are not required. Okay, just two or three groups will be sufficient. Okay, two or three groups means all the roles will be performed by the people of three groups only. Like sponsor can also become a manager, and this data engineer can also look as a DBA, like they can perform the backend task. So based on the complexity of the project, the size of the team will be compressed. If it is a smaller project, then two or three roles can be sufficient. But if it is a bigger one, then this will be further enhanced. That is, instead of 7, you will have some 10 to 15 roles. Okay, or under data scientist, we may have grades scientist A, scientist B, scientist C, something like that, so that each one of them can focus on their own teams and make the task to be successful. Right? So, based on the complexity, the roles, the number of people involved will vary. Right? Then all those roles they are associated with these different phases. Okay, so these are the different phases of your data analytics life cycle. Okay, so discovery phase, data preparation phase, okay, and then model planning, model building, and you can communicate the results, and finally operationalize. Okay, now, in each of these phases, see, this is something like when you are trying to work out on a project, like you have to work on your major projects now, isn't it? Directly, if you start with downloading some data sets and all, without actually thinking about what problem you wanted to solve, how to which extent can it be extended further, without thinking all that, then what will happen now? What will happen? Yes, the outcome will not be as required, isn't it? So that is the reason why it is necessary to understand the significance of each of these phases, the kind of work that will be carried out in each of these phases, so that you can work out on the things properly and you can get the required outputs. Even if you wanted to make changes, also you don't have to do too much of rework. Otherwise, what will happen when you're working on your main projects? What will happen? Yes, you will start downloading some data set, you will apply some method, you will get some result. Then again your guide will say that no, no, I don't want this one. You work on some other aspect. Then what will happen? Once again you need to do the entire work. Why did that all happen? Because you didn't try to understand what exactly you wanted to solve, what problem you wanted to work on. Right? So to overcome all those difficulties only, these different phases are designed about. So in detail about these phases, we will discuss in our next class. Okay, so that's it for today. Please let me know if you have any doubts or if any clarifications needed from my end. And afternoon even we have a lab also. So at around 1:10, you can log in using the same link. 2 or 3 minutes here or there, it might be delayed. Otherwise, you can log in. So where we will discuss on different lab tasks, and I will even assign you certain roles. Okay, so all those things we will see it in the afternoon. Right? You can join using the same link. Is that clear, Nana? All of you?
Yes,
Any?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Any doubts with respect to whatever we have discussed today? Please let me know. If no doubts, then we'll proceed with the attendance. Hope all of them have joined the WhatsApp group now. If anyone else is pending, please identify and ask them to join. I think on the whole 18, Grishma, the two students who were missing from C1, did they join? Grishma, are you there? Okay, fine. So we'll identify that even in the afternoon, right? Now proceeding with the attendance, CSC 155, Shrikar,
Present, ma'am.
Rohit 39.
Ma'am, present ma'am, 17 and 39.
Okay, next Chaitanya, roll number 1. Roll number 1, Chaitanya, absent. Okay, 7, Reshma, 20,
Present, ma'am.
Ritika, 25, Ahmed,
Present, ma'am.
42, Rohit,
Present, ma'am.
43, Sai Kalyan, absent.
Ma'am, 7 present, ma'am, had a mic issue.
Okay, right. 43 is here. No. 181,
Present, ma'am.
182.
Present ma'am.
Okay. CSC 280,
Present ma'am.
87,
Present, ma'am.
94,
Present, ma'am. 94.
105, 105, triple one,
111 present, ma'am.
114,
Present, ma'am.
117,
Present, ma'am.
118.
Present, ma'am.
Absentees are 3, that is roll number 1 from C1 and 43. These two are absent. And from C2, absentees 105. Right? Okay, you can leave now and you can join back in the afternoon during your lab timings.